so I always wore sunglasses when I pitched.
Hey, coach, why am I not getting playing time?
And we need those types of leaders on our teams too.
So it turns out screaming hustle at a 10-year-old isn't a real leadership strategy. Let's find out why.
Welcome to DSPN Softball Central Podcast, your comprehensive look into the world of fast-pitch softball.
In softball, the pitcher's circle is where games are won and leaders are forged. But today, there's too many girls walking away from the game when they should be rising into their power. Our guest, former D1 standout, Claire Reitman-Grout, is on a mission to change all that. As a positive coach, she is showing us how to move from shouting to strengthening and to build a culture that empowers the next generation of women to lead. Claire, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here and to chat with you.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you about is in 2008, while playing Division I at Towson University, you pitched a complete game shutout against James Madison University, allowing only 3 hits. When you're in the zone like that, what's going through your head?
Well, one, that was a very long time ago. 2, I do remember the game because it was freezing. But I had 2 ways of getting into the zone, and these ways helped keep me there and control my thoughts. So the first one was I was the pitcher with the sunglasses. So I always wore sunglasses when I pitched. And when I put on my glasses, I put on my pitching persona, who was loud, who was aggressive, and she was the leader of her team. And this was different than Claire off the field. But as soon as I put on my glasses, like, all right, it's game time. Let's do this. The second thing that helped me in the zone and stay in the zone is I had a pitching routine. And I did this pitching routine every single time. I would walk to the back of the mound, the back of the circle, and I would kick some dirt. And then I would take 3 charging really hard steps and take the mound to take the sign. And this helps me focus on the moment and focus on the next pitch instead of worrying about what just happened. I never allowed the moment to get too big because I knew that I had my routine to rely on.
I love to hear that. But I love, like, whether it's a businesswoman going into a business meeting and putting on your power suit, or I actually know a young lady, Kristen Alexander, that lives up in the Bay Area. When she goes to trial, she has her trial shoes that she puts on. So she knows she's going into trial, that she's putting on her persona as a lawyer. So that's awesome.
I also got a kick out of the fact because we do a broadcast for our daughter's games too. We do play-by-play, and that's another whole Oprah show. But the fact that you said mound and then circle, we do that all the time, and we kick ourselves. And here's a D1 player that still does it. So okay,
so we can forgive ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
This episode is sponsored by Ryan Contractors. They're celebrating 14 years of being your go-to general contractor. Visit their website at RCI America for more information.
So you grew up in NorCal, right? Half Moon Bay area.
Correct. Yes.
What led a West Coast pitcher across the country to Towson University?
Yeah, great question. I always thought that I would stay in California. But then when I started the recruiting process, Coach Costello from Towson called me and I said, where is this? And so I actually had to look up Maryland on a map. And then, I started thinking about it and why not go try something new for 4 years? I knew my parents and my family were always going to be in California. And so why not go experience winter or seasons? Why not put myself in a situation where I really can learn and grow? And I loved it. I'm so grateful that I went and lived in a different city, a different state, and experienced something totally different than what I had been doing in Northern California. And I learned a lot. And that was a pretty cool experience. I'm really grateful for going across the country.
And I'm sure it helped you grow as a person and being a little more independent and not having your family right there. So that's awesome. Your freshman year, 2005, was an interesting time for Towson softball. It was the first year Towson made the CAA tournament. How would you describe the team culture back then, and how did that shape your view of what a healthy team looks like?
Yeah, we were led in 2005 as a freshman by amazing senior class. Set the standard for work ethic. They set the standard for how we played, how we showed up. And I looked up to them so much. I thought those seniors were amazing, and I wanted to be just like them when I was a senior captain.
You're also a strong student and a graduate transfer. How did the academic environment at Towson prepare you for the transition from being an athlete to being a professional in the sports education space?
Yeah, so school's always been really important to me. I love school. Like I love to learn, and so that was always a priority for me. I always looked forward to going to class. I had great support systems, great professors at Towson, and they really encouraged me to consider going on to getting a master's degree. And my coach also, Coach Costello, also like knew that that was something that I wanted to do, so I felt really supported. And my family has always been my biggest supporters. And it was like, no question of like, of course you're going to get a master's degree. And so I'm just really grateful to have the support around me.
If you don't mind me asking, what is your master's in?
And my master's is in journalism.
She's probably judging us right now.
Yes, I know. I can
No judgment.
I can feel her judgy eyes on us. No.
So it's funny because I actually thought that I was going to be a sports journalist, but then I had an internship at a local news station here in the Bay Area. So for the summer, I worked at a news desk, but it was so inside. I hated it. I wanted to be outside, and so I decided not to pursue journalism. But I really did learn a lot working at the sports desk that summer.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
You wrote for Softball Magazine for years about the reality of being a D1 pitcher. Was there a specific moment at Towson, perhaps a tough loss or an injury, that sparked your passion for focusing on the mental and emotional side of the game?
Yeah, so my freshman year at Towson, I was doing a lot of writing, but I wasn't it was just for me. And actually my dad suggested, "Why don't these are articles are really good. Why don't you send them to Softball Magazine?" And I did. And I just sent a cold email to the editor and she was like, "We're going to publish these." And I was like, "Okay." I was 18, 19, right? I just realized that my experience as a Division I athlete, my experience as a pitcher was so valuable to other people. And I had a lot to share. And I had like a really interesting perspective and I was good at writing. So I just kept doing it. And I actually really miss writing my column for Softball Magazine, but I get that fixed because I have my own blog now that talks about coaching.
You often talk about the coaching, the person behind the uniform. Looking back at your time at TU, were there coaches or mentors who did that for you?
I would say my high school coach really was the one who saw me as a person. And so I had had that experience young and I felt so seen and supported during a really like hard time in my life in high school because high school is difficult. So I knew what it felt like to be supported by a coach. And then, when I went to Towson, I had a great experience, I had a great coach. But like when you're a Division I athlete, it's more of a job, right? Like you're doing it because it's fun, but it's a different experience. And so for me, I want to really encourage other coaches to like be that person for an athlete, and I want to be that person for my pitchers and for my athletes.
It's so important for especially female athletes to have that strong role model, right? And you're not the first person that I've heard say my high school coach or my 10U softball coach. There's such an impression that a coach can make on not even just a girl, but on an athlete that will take them for the rest of their lives. And to be that person is like an honor. If someone came up to me and say, "Hey, Coach Rob, I remember when you were coaching us in 12U, you told me this and it worked, and I'll never forget that." And I'd start crying. It is just so amazing, what a good effect a good coach can have. And then on the other side, it can be negative effects with coaches that aren't really coaching well.
Yeah, the research says that it can only take one negative comment by a coach to affect a girl, whether she wants to go back to the team, back to practice, or back to the next game. And for me, that's one comment too many, right? We can't take that risk. As a coach, the responsibility to give them a good experience is huge, and I take that responsibility really seriously. And I hope that with these conversations, we can continue to encourage other coaches to take that responsibility really highly as well.
Yeah, and on that point is, um, I the first time I was pulled in to help coach, I'm just a mom, and we had a rec ball league, and we need coaches, and so I stepped up, but I didn't know what I didn't know, and there's still a lot to learn. So I think this content is going to be extremely helpful to a lot of coaches.
And I love that you said yes to coaching because someone asked you. That is how we get women into coaching, because sometimes, yeah, they're like, I'm just a mom or I'm just a former player. I'm not a coach, but that's not true. You have the skills. You absolutely can do it. And all it takes is just one ask for a woman or a former player to be like, oh, I could do that. So I love your story. That's really cool.
What is the number one skill you learned at TU as a pitcher that you find yourself teaching most often to young athletes you mentor today?
Coach Costello always talked to us about controlling the controllable. So she would say, we can't control the weather. It's February in Maryland. We can't control what the umpire is going to do. We can't control what the other team's going to do. But we can control our effort, our attitude, and how we prepare. And so that's a great lesson for whether you are on the softball field or leading in a board meeting. You can absolutely control those things, but we can't control what other people are doing. And those are conversations that I am having with my athletes and with my pitchers all the time, especially when my little pitchers are like, I'm too scared to hit the batter. And so we talk about, hey, like, you can't control if the batter hops out of the way or not, but you can control your timing. You can control your effort. You can control your release point. And then it becomes less scary for them to actually get it on the mound or in the circle and pitch to a batter.
I feel like I say this all the time in some of our podcasts, is that we truly are building the next leaders, through this sport, and it's so important to teach them all of these lessons.
What are the specific leadership muscles that girls develop on the softball field that are hardest to build anywhere else?
Yeah, so I learned to lead on the softball field, and I think that other players can absolutely do that too, or in other sports. It doesn't have to just be softball. But for me, I found my voice. I learned to encourage others. I learned to give direction, and I learned to advocate for myself, which is huge. Sports simulate, or the softball field simulates a safe environment to try these things, right? To try advocating for yourself for the first time in a team environment. And then if you practice that there where it feels safe, that builds the confidence to then lead and use those skills later on in life.
You've mentioned that you are a process-oriented coach. How do you convince a competitive D1 bound athlete to fall in love with the process when they're under so much pressure to deliver results?
Well, my heart goes out to them because the pressure is real, especially now in the landscape. But when we're process oriented, it's way easier to stay present. It's easier to stay focused. And as like sometimes I talk about the moment getting too big. I've mentioned that before. And when we think about the really big picture, yeah, it could feel super overwhelming and hard on our mental health. But if we're like, I'm going to do the next right thing in that moment, and the next right thing is to speed up my timing, or the next right thing is to throw an inside pitch, or the next right thing is go talk to my coach and advocate for myself, that process adds up over time.
So you talk about advocating for yourself to the coach. We talked about this on another episode. You think there's any time where it's like the right time for a girl to start advocating, or should they just do it from the get go, whether it's 8U, 10U, whatever? Because a lot of times it's the crazy parent that's in there yelling at the coach, "Why is my kid getting playing time?" And I think some of that could almost shelters the girl from her having her voice heard. If she feels good about talking to the coach, then she might feel good about talking to a teacher or whatever. So anyways, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that age appropriate advocating for yourself is should be encouraged. Yeah. So an 8U, they may need more parent support to go and have that conversation, or they may need the parent to say, hey, she really shouldn't be pitching 3 games today, right? Like, so the parents need to help build that boundary or build that kind of like walk that fine line. And then, at the 12U level, yeah, that's when parents should really start to empower their player to go and have that conversation with the coach. Hey, coach, I really want to be a starter. What can I do? What skills do I need to work on to make that happen? And a coach loves it. If I had a 12U player or high school player even come and ask those questions, I love to have those conversations. And I think that like having conversations at home as a family and practicing that's a skill. And that's something that parents really could support in.
Yeah, so they feel supported, but they also know the right questions to ask and not just like, hey, coach, why am I not getting playing time? Hey, coach, what can I do or what do you need to see from me in my role to get a little more playing time? Or what can I do? What do you want me to work on? So I absolutely.
Yeah, framing the question correctly instead of saying, how do I get more playing time? It's like, how do I improve to become a starter? There's, different way. Again, that all teaches not just female athletes, but it teaches people how to communicate in the quote unquote the real world. Not that softball isn't real. Trust me, I love it. Uh, but it's all skill building, and just like in softball, you build skills upon skills upon skills. You don't your first day, you're not diving, backhanding, and then getting up, throwing sidearm over to the first base. You get first of all, you got to learn how to put the glove on, right? And then you need to learn how to hold the ball. And so there's steps that build upon different steps that make you a better player, can make you a better leader. That's my two
Yeah,
cents
and
on that.
if I'm an athlete that wants to get more playing time and they go to the coach, I would start with this is what I've been working on. Hey coach, I'm really working on being a good teammate. I've also been working on my bat speed. What are the other skills that I could work on to get another at bat in the game, right? Because then the coach is like, "Oh, I didn't notice," or "Oh, I did notice," right? And then you're showing your self-awareness too. As a player. And so leading it that way by saying like, these are the things I'm doing, coach. What gaps are you noticing? That is a great way to frame that conversation when you're advocating for yourself.
It also shows the coach, that you have some softball IQ, and you're confident about what you're talking about.
Your philosophy focuses on mind, body, and spirit. Can you walk us through what a positive coach does differently during a high stakes timeout compared to a traditional coach?
One, a positive coach knows that they're always modeling and they're always an example of how adults should act in high pressure situations, right? So first, a positive coach breathes. They're able to notice if their own emotions are heightened and then they regulate themselves. So taking a deep breath, being like, oh, I'm a little bit excited right now, or oh, I'm feeling angry, right? So coaches having self-awareness is huge. And then noticing like, okay, this is what I need to do as an adult to process this emotion before I go speak to my team, because we do not want to project that, right? We don't want to project our own emotions on our team because they're probably feeling some kind of way too. And so we want our players to look to us for confidence. I know that as a coach, I am a mirror for the team. So if I show up calm, upbeat, excited to play or excited for the game, my team's also going to feel that way. But if I show up and I'm like a little nervous, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little anxious. I got to get the lineup done. I got to do X, Y, and Z before the game starts. My team is going to feel that. And then that's how they're going to play. So self-awareness for coaches is huge. Learning how to breathe in the moment and then figuring out like, okay, how do I take care of myself so then I can take care of my team?
Why do you think it's vital that women who've played at the collegiate level, then turn around and pick up a clipboard and start coaching?
Yeah. So my answer to that is twofold. One, representation really matters. If they can see you, they can be you, whether that's coaching or playing or leading. And so it's super important for representation. It's validating and it helps that sense of belonging. Like I do deserve to be here. I do belong in sports. So that's the first portion. Second portion, coaching is leadership. And when you're polishing leadership skills while coaching, these are transferable skills directly into the work world, your family, like whatever it is. 94% of women in C-suite positions have played sports. That's huge. That's so many. I love that stat. That's something like, wouldn't it be cool if we can get it to 99, or wouldn't it be cool if we can get it to 100? When we have women in leadership roles who played sports, then that cycles back to their representation. The girls can see, oh, this woman did it. She did it. I can too. So I just think it's so important for us for especially former players to get back out there and coach.
Well, I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah.
That one's huge about the representation. I love flying, and that's the essence of. I just fly for fun. I have a commercial pilot's license, but I fly just for fun. But I am also a mentor in a group called the 99s, a women's pilot group, and I'm on regional boards supporting women pilots. And again, I don't have the time to do it, but representation. That is why I go, and that's why I do the things I do, because girls, if they can see someone that looks like them in that cockpit or someone that's going to mentor them, it just goes so much further.
You kind of touched on this earlier with your high school coach, but is there any other quote unquote positive coach in your life that kind of set you on this trajectory?
I really had wonderful coaches growing up. I was super lucky in that way. So my pitching coach, Maureen Brady, daughter is Maya Brady. She comes from a very important Brady family. She was an All-American at Fresno State, and she was my coach through high school pitching. And man, I looked up to her, and she ended every single session with a high five and a good job today. When she said it, I just believed it. I was like, yeah, I did a good job. So that was really meaningful. I'm really grateful for my time with Mo. And then I actually never played for her, but she was the president of our league in Half Moon Bay, the girls softball league. Her name's Naomi Patridge, and she was the mayor and the president of the league. And like, how cool is that? The mayor knew my name, right? Because she was at the softball field every day, and she took such amazing care of the field. She always made sure that the girls had what we needed. So those two women, really just inspired by as a kid and grateful to have had their influence.
That's awesome. I love that. That is so awesome. Many coaches talk about culture, but it can feel abstract. What are the 3 tangible, non-negotiable rituals you recommend to a coach who wants to build a positive team culture from day one? And actually, I would ask that question day one. Maybe you're 6 months into coaching and realize like, hey, I haven't set that foundation, and how do I backtrack and try and change the team culture? So sorry, that's just a question I wanted to add in that just kind of came up.
It's never too late to get team culture going, right? Or to refine your team culture. So the 3 things I would recommend for a coach if they want to really start having a positive team culture. 1, start practice with a scaling question. And what I mean by that is ask your players, how are you doing today? And it could be as easy as like, they go like this or like that, right? For your littles. But then you get feedback, like, okay, these players are doing pretty well. These players may need some extra support. And then for my 12U and up high school players, I do a fist of 5. And I say, 1, horrible day; 5, the best day ever. You're pumped to be here at practice. But when we ask them how they're doing, this starts a relationship. They're like, oh, coach cares about me. And it's super easy. It takes 5 seconds to do on a scaling question, right? And you do it with the whole team. So everyone kind of has an idea of how the team is doing, what the pulse is for the day. And then, if you have someone who self-reported a 1 or a 2, those are kids you want to go check on. Hey, I saw you're a 2. How's it going? What's going on? Something going on outside the field, right? So, that is how we build relationships, showing interest in how they're doing off the field. So that's what I would start with is asking scaling questions. Second, we always want to start our practice with some kind of community building game or like activity or drill. And this could be skill specific, like softball skill specific. It could also be interpersonal skill specific, but it's something that's kind of fun. It builds competitiveness. It builds teamwork. It has a teammate interaction. So they're learning about each other. And so when we have a community building activity in the beginning, once they start to like chat a little bit or they're giggling or they're competing, the nerves start to fall away. They're like, okay, yeah, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm having a good time here at practice. And then from there, that's when you can really jump into like the drills, right? And the intensity of it, right? So always start with some kind of community building. And then the third tool that I like to talk about with coaches for building a positive team culture is co-creating team agreements with your team. So especially for older girls, if you say these are the rules or these are the guidelines, it's hard to get buy-in. But when you co-create a team commitment statement, like as a team, we're committed to X, Y, and Z, then it's their words. And so I like to ask the players, how do you want to feel when you're with the team? What do you want to see from players and coaches? And what do you want to hear when you're at practice or when you're in the games? And so you ask them that, you give them Post-its, they put their Post-its up, and you get the feedback, and then you use their words. You see what themes come up. Maybe it's effort, maybe it's positivity, maybe it's communication, maybe it's support. And then you use their words to write the team agreements.
I wish I was playing sports again and you were my coach.
I know.
So not every kid is like the vocal captain leader, right? So how do you help out someone that's a little more soft-spoken that to help them become a leader as well?
Yeah, for me, I believe just because you signed up for a team means that you're a leader. Every single athlete who goes out for a team can lead and is a leader on the team. Just everyone has their own leadership style. Maybe they're a vocal leader. Great. Maybe they're a leader by example. Equally important. We need leaders by examples on the team. So if you're maybe our quiet players, they might be leading by example by doing the right thing when no one's looking. We also have service leaders, right? They're the ones picking up the gear. They're the ones going and put the bases out. And we need those types of leaders on our teams too. So all three of those leaders are super important for making the team happen. And then it's noticing what your players are good at and telling them and saying like, hey, thank you so much for putting the bases out. You did a really big service to the team today. That matters. Keep doing that. Or it's saying, hey, you're a really good teammate, and that's a skill. You're a really good friend. Thank you for bringing our team together. Keep doing that. That's how we empower people. When you name what they're doing, naming the skill that they're using, and then encouraging them to continue to do it. And then if you really want to take it a step further, you have the conversation. You're a really good teammate and friend. Did you know that you could do that at school too, or in your family? Have you tried that? And then they're like, whoa, I really am a leader. So that's how we empower kids to lead.
Love it.
All right, we'll be right back with the seventh inning walk-off. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to do the seventh inning walk-off with the positive coach, Claire. And this game obviously has 7 questions. That's where the name comes from. Some are trivia, some are just Claire's opinion, but it's just a lot of fun. There's no big prize. There's a big thank you and probably a T-shirt that goes along with it. So are you ready to start?
Let's do it. I'm here for it.
All right, here we go. So we talked a little bit about the 2005 season, but in 2005, as a freshman at TU, You pitched in 8 games. The game that you started, who was your opponent?
I want to say either Morgan State or Coppin State.
It was Coppin State. Ding, ding,
Okay,
ding, ding,
nice.
ding, winner. Okay. All right. So that's one run. Now, these questions sometimes have 2 parts. So you got the run. Now you can get the RBI on this question. What was the score of that game?
8-0. That's my guess.
Okay.
I think we run ruled them.
You definitely did. It was 19-1. You run ruled them a couple times. All right. So you got the 1 run. You didn't get the RBI, but that's okay. That's a great start.
Good deal.
What was the original name of Towson University?
So I know it was a teacher's college first. I want to say like Maryland something teacher's college or teaching school, something like that. Their education program is still amazing too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very close. It was called the Maryland State Normal School.
Oh, okay.
Go figure. The normal school,
I know.
as opposed to the crazy school, I guess.
And for the RBI, what year was it founded?
1866.
Oh,
Hey, look at
I'm
her.
impressed.
Yes.
Two solo shots on the first and second inning there.
Oh.
So this is an opinion question. What is one book that every coach should read or must read?
I am going to say it's called Kids These Days by Betsy Butterick. It just came out and it actually just came out on Amazon, and it's for coaches of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and it helps with communication. I love this book. It is a huge resource for coaches, but also parents, anyone who deals with Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So Kids These Days, Betsy Butterick, go check it out. I ordered 2 copies, not just one.
Okay, question number 4. In Division I softball, what coach has the most wins?
Ooh, Coach Hutchins from
Wow.
Michigan.
I am, wow, that is awesome.
Is that right?
Wow.
Oh my God, I'm so
Okay. So, and for the RBI, how many wins was it?
now you're asking over 500, but I don't know. That's my guess. I don't know.
1,709.
Dang, go coach. I'm so impressed.
Okay, and then do you know who's in second place by chance?
Andrea?
Ooh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Is it Coach Andrea? Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well,
Look at
see,
me. I know my
Look at
softball.
you.
most people will pick him first.
No, we got to go.
Yeah, no,
we always go with a woman.
Yeah. All right, and now and who is in third place?
Third place.
I'll give you a hint. It's
Current
current,
coach.
yeah.
Yeah,
Patty
current coach.
Gasso? Coach Gasso?
Yes.
Yeah.
With 1,569 and counting.
Okay, this is one of my favorite trivia questions because I kind of came up with it on my own. But name the top 3 mascots in Division I softball, meaning what they are. Like I'll give you
most
one.
common.
Yes, thank you. Most common. And if you name one of them in the top 3, I'll give you the run. But if you can name the top one, then I'll give you a 2 run.
Well, I'm going to say tiger because it's pretty common, and I am a Towson Tiger.
Right.
But I don't know.
Georgia.
A dog, like a bulldog or like some kind of dog. And
Bulldogs,
Okay.
11. So tigers, there's 12 with tigers, 11 with
Okay.
bulldogs, and then there's one other one.
like an eagle.
Yeah.
Anyways, I like that question. It's a fun question.
Right. What
So
is
did I get it? Did I get a run?
Yes, you get 2 runs there. So you now have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5 runs so far.
Wow.
Super competitive. Okay.
Really good batting average
I
there.
didn't get that from you that you were competitive at all.
No? Okay.
Oh. Yes, I did.
What is one NCAA softball rule you would change? This is a an opinion
Well, that's
one.
controversial. Leap. the new leaping rule. I
Right.
would really like pitchers to drag, but I understand that I have to learn and grow and accept rule changes. But yeah, the leap hurts my soul as someone who used to pitch with 2 feet on the rubber and
Wow.
drag my toe for as long as I could.
Excellent. Well, that makes sense that it would be surrounding a pitching rule. If you could put one tool in every coach's toolbox to improve team communication instantly, what would it be? One tool.
I was going to say just love your players because love. But I actually think listening for communication is super important for coaches, because if you can really listen to what your team is experiencing or going through, or what that parent is feeling or experiencing, you can bridge a lot of gaps.
Listening. That's a skill that I need to acquire sometimes.
Yes, your wife thinks so.
What?
No.
Sorry. Well, you did really great on that. You had the 5 runs out of a possible 7, so kick butt. Really,
Yeah.
really excellent. I can't tell you how much fun this has been and what your energy brings to the podcast, and it's amazing just to talk to you. I'm so glad this all worked out the way it did.
Well, give us a shameless plug for your business
sorry.
and how people can get in touch with you.
I'm Claire, the Positive Coach, and I'm really passionate about empowering girls and women to lead through sports. I help coaches of girls lead with intention by giving them research-based tools that help with communication, leadership, and connection. And these are tools they can bring back to their teams. Check out my blog on clairerg.net. Also, follow me on social media, Claire the Positive Coach on Instagram.
Excellent. I do follow you on all those social media stuff.
Thank you.
It's really, it's really good stuff. Really good. So once again, thank you for being here, taking time out of your day. It's definitely been a positive type
Experience.
of show. Yes,
Yes,
for sure. For sure.
Fun chatting and just sharing my love of softball with other people who love softball. And I'd love to come back and share more positivity with your community.
Remember, everyone, you can find us at www.dspn.online. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at DSPN+.
Like, subscribe, and follow. You can find this episode and all episodes at www.dspn.online, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever you find your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe and follow the podcast so that you can get the latest episode at the top of your feed as soon as it drops.
If your business is interested in maybe sponsoring the show, drop us a line at dspnplus@gmail.com. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Also, we are on Patreon. It's a small way to help contribute to the show, keep the lights on in the dugout, and you can find us there at patreon.com/Softball Central. I'm Rob D.
And I'm Samarra. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the DSPN Softball Central Podcast.
Until next time, put the ball in play. You never know what's going to happen. Ciao.